Hi, my name is Yara Jaffé from Universidad Valparaíso, and my colleague here is Karla Peña from Universidad de Antofagasta, and this is a dual talk to talk very briefly about astronomy and climate change from a Chilean perspective. So here in Chile, we have unique conditions for astronomy because we host the driest desert in the planet, the Atacama Desert, which is the boundaries of this desert are the very tall mountains of the Andes, and on the other side, the cold Pacific Ocean, which make it a very dry and perfect place for astronomical observations. And this is why many international observatories have come to Chile to install their beautiful and big facilities. So here's a summary of some of the facilities that are hosted here in Chile. We have ALMA, at very high altitudes in the northern part of the country. We have the VLT in Paranal Observatory, Cerro Tololo, La Silla, Gemini, and also big facilities that are being built, like the Vera Rubin Observatory and also the ELT. And it's expected that by 2030, we will host more than half of the world's astronomical capacity. So Chile, it can be said that Chile is actually a capital of astronomy worldwide, or an astronomical hub. In terms of collecting power. And this is also reflected in our astronomy community within Chile. It's not just growing in terms of telescopes, but also in terms of people. In the last decade or 2 decades, it's grown significantly. So here on the left, you have a map of Chile, of this very long stripe of land where each dot corresponds to places or cities where there are universities or institutes hosting astronomy departments. Okay, so we have a lot of 24 institutes in the last census, which was 2021, and I think since then a couple have opened, so they keep opening every couple of years new astronomy departments in response to all the facilities that we have here in the country. And in terms of number of people, the number of staff, postdocs, and also students have quadrupled in the last 15 years or so. So there is a growth in our community, and the society, let's say, that represents us is the Chilean Astronomical Society, SOCHIAS. And within the context of SOCHIAS and the annual meetings that we have every year, we organized for the first time this year a special session in our meeting to discuss astronomy and climate change. And my colleague Karla is going to tell you a little bit more about what we did.
Thank you, Yara. Yeah, indeed. In January 2022, we have the first session related to climate change in our annual meeting. And we got there more than 100 attendees and counted with a group of experts in different disciplines related with climate change. It starts with an overview of the problem given with an astronomical perspective given by Leonard Butcher. Then the climatologist René Gouraud from Universidad de Chile described the nonlinear effects of climate change, specifically in the north of Chile. Concrete examples of how climate change directly affects astronomical observations were presented by Faustine Cantalou. And then the psychologist Alison Anderson provided a key strategies for communicating climate change in a scientific community. And finally, Adam Stevens showcases the example of the Astronomical Society of Australia, which has quantified their emissions in their community. This section have a second part, and in that second part, there was a round table and a discussion with representatives of the most important and the major observatories based in Chile present their current and future sustainability and mitigation plans. Can you change the slide, please? Thank you. The discussion was initially by Javier Barzons, the ESO director, general director. He presented the ESO's views and concrete actions taken on sustainability. Then followed by ALMA Executive Officer, Magister Alejandra Boyd, who shows some of the initiatives that the institution are planning to take into account the topic of climate change. And finally, the representatives from NOIR Lab, the Dr. Inger Jorgensen, and Hernan Bustos and Robert Bloom, as director of the operations of the Bernard C. Rubin Observatory, present their current estimate of carbon footprint at NOIR Lab and outline which are the plans that they are gathering to reduce the carbon footprint. They showcase also some of the efforts that to preserve the local fauna and light pollutions in the region, in the northern region of the country. Finally, we gather all that result and we publish a document in the March issue of Nature Astronomy, in which we summarize all the details that I already mentioned. And complementary, we recorded all the contributions and subtitled them in Spanish, and they are all available for the community.
And just to finalize, we also made a census within this session in the annual SYMPOSIUM meeting of people interested in sustainability within the astronomical community. And we have a database of over 30 people that are willing to, get together at some point in the future and maybe have some kind of working group to discuss these issues within the country. So thanks again for the invitation and see you at the discussion.
Thank you.